What's going on, Ronnie?
Nothing much, sir. How about you, sir?
I'm doing well, man. Looking forward to talking to you and hearing your thoughts. What are your thoughts?
Yes, sir. So let me understand your premise. You're saying that it's how Ed Reed went about things. Is that correct?
About what? You got to give me the context as to what you were trying to understand the premise about because there's a lot of different
Yeah,
things, right?
of what Ed Reed was saying. What?
About
Like,
Shannon Sharp, about the university.
no, no. Listen, no. Way before Shannon Sharp. I'm not
Okay.
even going to discuss Shannon Sharp.
Okay.
The real issue is BCU itself.
Okay.
It's how he introduced the issues at BCU to the limelight. Is that correct, sir?
Correct.
Okay. All right. I'm following you. I'm following you. Okay. All right.
I don't have a
Because if you,
problem with anything that anybody says. I think that Ed Reed can say it. You know, the interim president said it in the very beginning of the interview. He said, listen, I don't have a problem with what he did or what he said. It's how he goes about doing it, right? He wasn't even an employee
Mhm.
yet. And he never actually expressed those issues over to the people that actually hired him, right? I think we live in a culture today where people feel more comfortable going live on Instagram instead of first having a conversation with the people that they're supposed to be in business with.
This is where we disagree at
Okay.
because think I think Ed Reed didn't know it was that bad at BCU. I
Mhm.
don't. I think Theus and the interim president right now. I think they're yes men because if you look at the board hasn't changed. In
Mhm.
fact, BCU has had four, not one,
Mhm.
not two, but three, four interim presidents in the past 10 years.
Okay. So let me ask you a question.
Go ahead, sir.
How many jobs have you taken without first talking to or touring the facility?
None.
So is that Ed Reed's fault or is that the organization's fault?
No, Ed Reed probably thought that it's
No, 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 no.
probably
We can't go by
so
what we
so.
think. We going by operating as a professional. We don't just go in and say, "Yeah, give me the job." You
No, no,
research
no.
the
We called it what you
institution. You
call it.
take a tour of the facility. You try. You have a conversation about what the budget could be for you to hire additional staff. What it is that you can and can't do. He wasn't even an employee yet.
No, he probably going after the Bethune Cookman of 2013 and before, when Bethune Cookman was a power
But we can't
back in
assume that.
2013.
Even if they were, we don't go by what we think. We go by how we're supposed to operate as a professional. If you're a professional, who takes a position or a job without understanding everything about it? More importantly, who does that without first doing a tour of the facility? And then who goes on Instagram Live before they actually have the job?
That's a very good point. You have a good point there. But, but technically, he did not take, and he was touring the facilities. He agreed in principle. He didn't sign the paperwork yet.
So he didn't have
So
the
that's
job.
where the videos. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said, so he didn't have the job.
In principle, he did. He just didn't sign the paperwork.
So do you start a job without starting signing the paperwork?
Yes, I've done that before. Yes, sir, I
You
have.
start a job without signing the paperwork.
Yes, sir, I have.
I've
I
never done
have.
that before.
I have. Just to get your foot in the door so you can be familiar with the staff and familiar with what's going on. Yes, sir. I have, sir.
I have never actually, but see, that's not starting a job though, right? Because he actually went on a recruiting trail, right? He
That
actually
is start.
started going live on. He started
Don't
going
forget, he
live on
was football
Instagram.
coach.
He started going live on Instagram, and he said that he had already started shooting a documentary unauthorized.
Yeah, that's a football coach because he's at Bethune Cookman. So you have to realize he's a football coach at a HBCU. So
No,
he
he
has to
wasn't. He
recruit.
wasn't. He wasn't
The
actually
first thing,
hired.
well, the first time when he agreed in principle to accept the position, that's when your job starts.
But
You got
no,
to
no, no, no,
recruit.
that's not true because they had not ironed out
Well,
all of
yes,
it.
sir.
No, no,
No,
no, no, no,
sir.
no.
No,
Listen,
no,
listen,
no,
listen.
no,
He
sir.
agreed. He and both the interim
Mm-mm.
president. This was one of the very few things that they agreed on.
Mm-mm.
And the interim president highlighted this. He said they had not even ironed out all of the details for
That's like,
what his job
mhm.
entailed. So Ed Reed professionally didn't even know what he could and couldn't do. You don't know if you can record certain facilities and things like that. You don't know how you're supposed to operate from a professional perspective. And more importantly, I still believe, and we both just assuming, right? Because we don't know the details of the contract or anything like that. Um,
That's
I,
correct.
I still believe, no matter what it is that happens, that you are supposed to still operate in a professional manner. You don't go on Instagram live cussing. I think personally, and this is just my opinion, right? I think that he thought that he was Deion Sanders. I think that he thought that he was Deion Sanders, and he not Deion Sanders.
No, he's Ed Reed. He's one of the best safeties ever played the position. It's
True.
different. It's different. It's different. But this is where we have to go into the other aspect of it, of BCU. So for years, I think starting from 2015, that they've been since the accreditation problems that they had,
Mm-hmm.
they've been having these issues at BCU, and it hasn't been brought to the limelight.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're not talking that we haven't talked about until those lives came through.
Who? But okay. So
So
let me ask you a question though.
go ahead.
So let me ask you a question, right? Because
Yes,
cool,
sir.
I don't disagree with you at all about the problems that's happening at BCU. I mean, yeah, but BCU, Bethune Cookman, at the problems that's happening at HBCUs across the board, right?
Yes, sir.
That, would you agree that is a completely separate issue from how it is that he's supposed to operate from a professional perspective? Because
No,
it's
sir.
one
Because we
issue
have to.
is what the conditions
Okay.
are and what's happening at HBCUs and Bethune Cookman specifically. Another issue is how you're supposed to operate as a professional. Would you agree with that?
In this case, no, sir. And I'm going to tell you why, sir.
Okay.
Because he was the battery. He was the spark. He was the lighter to lit the fuse, so people can see what's behind what's basically he's pointing out who the wizard is behind the curtain
So let me ask
at
you another
BCU.
question then. How come
Go ahead,
Deion
sir.
Sanders didn't go about doing it that way?
No, Deion Sanders did. We just didn't listen to him.
No, 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 no,
I'll
no,
give you a
no.
perfect
Deion
example.
Sanders, Deion
I'll give
Sanders
you a perfect
highlighted that there
example.
was
Go ahead, sir.
problems, but the way he went about solving them was not to throw. Why? While he was at Jackson State, he did not throw Jackson State under the bus. He did not do that.
But Jackson State didn't have this type of problems.
But
Jackson
Jackson
State,
State had problems
Jackson
though.
as a whole had the water issue, yes, but they didn't have one lack of security. Well, the lack of facility. Let's start with the very beginning. Security.
Hmm.
There was you didn't show, and I want you. Hopefully, you showed the video of the kids, of the first set of kids, not the football players,
I can go
but
through
the
it tomorrow because I don't have a limit. Like we can do another live tomorrow. I have no problem with that.
yes, sir. And listen to what the young lady said. The young lady said that the homeless are sometimes chilled out in the dorm lobbies. The
That's at
homeless,
every.
and when they
I
call
see them on
security,
the. I see them at all of the campuses. I seen them at Western. I seen them at the University of Michigan. I seen
okay, but
homeless
we're
people at
talking.
all of the dorm
Okay,
lobbies.
okay, bring it
What
back,
is that
bring it back.
news?
Bring it back, sir. Bring it back to BCU. Bring it back.
Well, I'm just saying, like that's
Bring it
not
back to
mind blowing. Like
BCU.
that's not mind
And,
blowing.
and then let me finish. And then when they call security, the lack of effort of security to come escort the homeless out of the lobbies.
Okay,
Problem number
so
one.
that is supposed to make up for his lack of professionalism.
There's lack of professional. He probably, well, let's say, let me guess. I'm probably
Because
sounds like
you
a female.
conflating you conflating talking points. The problems with security at the dorm rooms ain't got nothing to do with whether or not Ed Reed was doing what he was supposed to do it from a professional perspective.
No, we're not going to hate. I mean, I appreciate what he did because he brought light to this issue, to this school. We're just mad because of how he did it.
Who didn't know that
It's not
HBCUs? Who don't know? Listen, who don't know that's on social media today that HBCUs is toe up from the flow up?
a lot of people, and they're
No,
improving.
everybody
I'm
know
not
that
going to knock
HBCUs is
HBCU
bold.
totally. Like my school, North Carolina Central University, go up to their campus. It looked different when I was there in the 80s. I mean, when I was there in 1992.
Okay,
Totally different.
you telling your age, big dog?
Yes, I'm about to be 50 this year, sir.
You look great to be 50, man.
Thank,
Congratulations.
thank you,
Hey,
sir.
getting older is a blessing. But no, I honestly believe, and listen, I think that you articulating your points great. I don't disagree with a lot of what you're saying. I think that our only disagreement is I think that there's a separation between how it is that you operate professionally, and um, I think that we're conflating two different issues. I don't believe,
Yes, we
especially
are. We are. We are.
that's
We
that's
are.
where my
But
only
those,
that's where our disagreement is.
yeah, but those two issues, but the two issues are going to collide because of that one live. And then let's go back to Coach Prime.
Okay.
Let's go back to Coach Prime because you said something. You said, how come Coach Prime didn't act this way? But in actuality, he acts that way. Have you ever looked at the after videos of when they won the SWAC and how he was
I didn't.
bullying the staff? How he was bullying the staff. It was kind of interesting. I was like, wow,
How who was
what are
bullying
you
was that?
doing? Yeah, he was bullying actually the president. He was telling the president to
Who,
come
Coach
here. It was
Prime?
me fighting the president. Yeah, Coach Prime.
You said
Yeah.
he was bullying his president about what?
Yeah, it was a shot. It was time for them to get the trophy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Coach Prime was like, I guess the president wasn't moving fast enough, and he was like, "Hurry up and get over here." But he said in another another tone.
Mm-hmm.
So the video's on YouTube. It is on YouTube,
And
and
I
I
don't.
was like,
And here's the thing. I don't agree with that either.
"Oh,
But at the same
okay."
time, we know that there. Listen, there's some people that is just so great and so talented that they can overcome some of that.
Mm,
Which I didn't see it, so I'm speaking out of context, but I'm just going based off of what you say. There's some people that can get away with it, right? Like
mhm.
I'll give it to you like this. Every time Melo used to grab the rebound off of the he'd catch a rebound for his entire career, he cursed. Anybody that's ever went to a game on the TV, they try to turn it down a little bit for whatever reason. But anybody that's ever went to a game, Carmelo Anthony, every time he grabbed a rebound, he said, "Fuck out of here." Every time. That flew while he was great. When he started to decline, not so much. You know what I'm saying? So when you at the top of your field and when you great, sometimes they'll make exceptions for the people that's exceptional. But it does not absolve you from holding yourself accountable when the consequences come down as far as them saying that you're not professional.
Yeah.
And
Let
if
me
Ed
give you.
Reed, think about it like this. Think about it like this. You're the president of Bethune Cookman, right? Or you the athletic director. You hire
Yes,
Ed
sir.
Reed. Ed Reed goes on and he does whatever the fuck he want to do whenever he want to do it. He go live when he want to. He expose certain things when he want to. Even though you had a conversation in your office with him about how it is that you're supposed to conduct yourself or what the expectations are, and he agreed to them. But you can't control him. You don't have any kind of relationship to where he would come to you first and raise the issue with you first or anything like that. Is that somebody that you want to work with? Honestly.
Honestly, honestly, if the under your circumstances, no, sir. However, related to BCU, what's going on right now? So BCU right now, I'm glad you mentioned Trump. I'm glad you mentioned Trump. You
Uh-huh.
know, BCU received $68 million in the past 2 years from the government.
No, I don't know. I don't know BCU specifics as far as what they got from the federal government. No.
$68 million. They can receive $68 million from the government. Did you know if you go to the BCU website, usually if you go to North Carolina Central's website, you can get in contact with the president, you can get in contact with the board. With BCU's website, look up the board and tell me how you get in contact with the board.
I've never been on BCU's website.
Okay. Another thing, see, and I don't fault Ed Reed
But you
because he
just
made his
wait,
do
wait.
his research.
You wouldn't work
Hmm?
with him. You wouldn't work with him. You just don't fault him.
Because you gave this is too your scenario you cannot narrow in a perfect world, no. In a perfect world, no. But in this
What do you mean in a
scenario,
perfect world? No.
related to
No, under
this,
the
related
circum
to
no, not in a
BCU,
perfect world. Under the circumstances, is that somebody that you would want working for you? No, you said no.
now, under a perfect world, no. But related to this, yes. I need someone with that passion. I want that passion to try to recruit, and that's all he was doing was recruiting. It's following the same pattern that Prime did.
No, he did not. That was not all he was doing.
Prime was heavy
Not it's
on
not all he was doing.
non.
And
Yes,
and
he
and
was.
more importantly, similar to what the president was saying, When you have the people that is supporting the program, such as Disney, calling you and saying, "Hey, what's going on over here?" and all
Hmm.
we have to go off of is what's being communicated, that's a problem.
So Disney, right? Disney cut them a check. Yeah, we know that Disney cuts them a check, right? You say, hey, what's going on here? So let's take last year. So at the Classic,
Hmm.
we're not even going to talk about the Classic. We're not going to talk about the Classic. That's too easy. Let's go to the. I did because I was like, okay, I know these kids. I know this Methodist school is having these rap acts at these school, and Lord behold, Glorilla was there at the performing at the step show.
Hmm.
So Disney can say Glorilla's cool, but not. But when Ed Reed went on his live pointing out what's going on with the school, I think it's more
Absolutely.
of what he pointed
Absolutely.
out.
Similar to how you can have certain things in movies, but that doesn't mean the CEO of the company is supposed to conduct himself in that same way also.
As long as he has an
When you become a leader, you have to carry yourself with a higher level of prestige and higher level of professionalism all the way across the board. As organizations, we've brought in different things and different people that would might have been entertaining, but it doesn't mean that we're supposed to operate like that as executive leadership. It is a completely different thing. You don't operate like that as a person that is supposed to be the face of a. I understand. Listen, one of the reasons why I will not go a step higher in the organization that I work for right now is because I also understand what comes along with that. And what comes along with that is to be more visible and also to be more of a representation of the face of the company, right? So I won't do it
Yes, sir.
because I get on this internet and I say some egregious shit sometimes. And so as a
But you
result,
can.
I have to take ownership and responsibility because I know what comes with that. I can't say,
Mhm.
well, I didn't always did this, or y'all was playing rap music in the cafeteria, or y'all brought in some talent for the Christmas show, and it was this like, no, I understand what comes along with that, and I'm never going to blame somebody else for my mistakes and my mishaps. It is up to me to carry the torch and to be responsible and professional in every way, shape, and possible.
Exactly, exactly. I'm glad you brought that up because if you provide a service, i.e., if I am a student at BCU and I'm telling you, and I am asking for a request to see you, Mr. President, in which Mr. President and Mr. Theus, their stories contradict each other, especially with the facilities part. That's why it's important to listen to the students and the football players and the students, and the faculty and the alumni that Mr. Rowland had is having on his what you call or having is having on his show.
Mhm.
So I don't fault Ed Reed because Ed Reed sparked the fire
You don't fault Ed
for
Reed for
them.
nothing. You just wouldn't work with him.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't work with him if we were in a perfect facility, if my facilities were tight, if everything
Why do
was
you,
okay, no.
I don't
But
fault
this
him.
case,
I
Ed
just wouldn't
Reed
have
has
him as an
a
employee for me.
valid point. He has a valid point. We made the
I don't
decree on
fault
the
him. Listen to what you're
low.
saying. Listen to what you're saying. You
Got
don't
to, I
fault
got
him.
to.
You just wouldn't have him working with you.
In a perfect world, no. But this
No, no, no,
world,
no.
we
Why
need
do you keep saying
Ed
in a
Reed
perfect
to
world?
introduce that.
You get listen. He is the person that is uncovering the problems that is exposing the truth and all of that. He is the person that is making the world perfect according to what it is that you're describing to me. So why wouldn't you
No,
go to
he
work
sparked.
with him? Considering
No, he
that,
sparked the flame to let us know what's going
so
on
then
at
that means that
BCU.
that's a person
We
that you
did
would
not
have
know
working
what
for
was
you,
going
right?
on at BCU until that live.
Wait. So that means that you would want that type of person to work with you, right?
In a perfect world, no, no. You don't want someone to go crazy like that online, but we need someone to go crazy on the line. You kind of you. There's 2 points here. You want because hey, you don't want him to do this, but you need someone to introduce what's going on, the issues that's going on though. We can't fault him because he's not an orator. We can't fault him for that. He's not an orator. Sorry.
Okay.
But he went there. He went there to make a change. Well, screw that. Like X that comment. He went and pointed out issues that were happening on that campus.
Okay. Just don't work with him.
Now, coach, if he was a Coach Prime type, perfect. Well, Coach Prime was perfect on the outside.
But
He
all
was
you
perfect
did,
on the
listen,
outside
listen. This is
because
what
he
you're
knew how to
doing.
play the game. He was
All you're
QC. He knew
doing,
how to play the
all
game.
you're doing is exposing the differences between somebody that is able to entertain and be professional and recruit, and somebody that just blabbers off at the mouth and he's just passionate
No, no, no,
and
no.
he's just
One
passionate.
that knows how to be put. No, one knows that has to handle himself. That was media trained in front of the camera, and one who wasn't. That's why you had.
No,
That's where I had Duke
no,
side on Indy Live.
no. You can't say somebody that was media trained. Listen, the first thing that Ed Reed does every time he goes live or every time he goes on any platform is he throw insults. He just throw
Right
shots.
now, right now, because he's upset.
He a grown man with a gray beard. We can't just start throwing insults the minute that we get upset at we don't like when somebody say something against us.
He has a valid point. Have you been paying? Have you been paying? Okay, forget what he or how he's saying it. What is he saying?
He's
This is
saying
what
that the very person that hired him, I don't even know if he's gonna be there anyway. I don't care nothing about him. Like he's saying a lot of egregious stuff about the very people that was giving him an opportunity while also asking him to reinstate him as a football coach. You don't
he's
see
saying
that
the
as a
same
problem?
thing that the students been saying and the alumni have been saying for years. He's echoing that same point.
This is
Now
what I
we choose to
this is
listen
this is the
because he's
problem within the
Ed
black
Reed.
community. This is the problem in the black community because we don't have any standards. We make it fit our narrative when it makes us feel a certain type of way, but we don't stand for anything as far as how it is that we're supposed to operate professionally, and we don't have any expectations of our leaders. Our leaders can throw tantrums like little children. The people that are, listen, the biggest lesson that I got from this is
Yes, sir.
we've enabled even our student body, the players, all of them.
Yes, sir.
What we're telling them is that they can say whatever they want to say when they want to say it as long as they feel right about it. Don't mean that you're right, but as long as he feels right about it. Because there's no
Sir,
professionalism, there's no decorum, there's no way in which you're supposed to operate as far as a hierarchy and you're supposed to complain up, not down, right? And there's no way because there's still no way in which we're solving a problem. All we doing is making things difficult, and there's no real communication because the only thing you have to be is passionate. You ain't got to be professional. You ain't got to abide by no guidelines. You ain't got to do your job. You ain't got to abide by what it is that you agree with the president or the athletic director. All you got to do is be passionate and feel like you're right, and that's enough. That's crazy to me.
but sir, in your argument, you mentioned the children. I call them they're children to me now. But you mentioned the children, the football players.
Hmm?
They're practicing in moldy equipment,
I don't know anything
and
about that.
okay, okay. So I ask you, and hopefully you will start another live
And I didn't even
tomorrow.
know that they were
Who?
practicing yet. I thought he had. I didn't even know he had the job yet. But go ahead.
Yeah, they were practicing in moldy equipment
Mm.
per football team, per three members of the football team that were on Mr. Martin's live 2 days ago.
Okay, and I'm gonna definitely pull it up and I'll review that video tomorrow.
So in that case, then when you have to provide a service. If I am a student that pays tuition,
You are you
I don't
you
want
you
to.
conflating arguments. That's not. See, this is an argument that you can bring up tomorrow once we start talking about what's happening with
Okay,
the facility.
yes, sir, yes, sir.
Today, the
Because
subject is
I'm
whether or
very
not Ed
interested
Reed is going about doing things professionally and if he deserved to be fired
in.
from a job that he didn't even have yet.
So if you bring attention to the way, the only thing I agree with you on, because I had to. That's why I asked the first question. Hey, is your premise on how he did it? It's not what he
Yeah, it's
did,
his
but how he did
professionalism.
it.
That's the entire
Okay,
premise of the show is he doing things the right way from a professional perspective?
okay. And I was like, okay, I got you. And then and then I was like, okay, that made me, at his lives, it made me dig into BCU. It made me dig into, that's how I found out about the interim president. I found out about the board that's been there since forever. How I found about the money and so forth. So who is actually wrong? I mean, bringing light to this. True, the board has been, I mean, the board is not the president because the interim presidents come and go. I think the last couple of presidents only had a lifespan of 2 years. at BC. In fact, I am the last two. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, the last two. All the information is on BC. They'll BCU's website. They'll let you know how long they stayed there. Everything I've been telling you, except for the money aspect.
Hmm.
So what I'm saying is this.
Okay.
So if the president states that yes, well, that's going into tomorrow. That's going into tomorrow's what you call it. Going into tomorrow's live. Well, I'm saying going into tomorrow's live, and I'm not going to harp on that anymore. Someone with a name needed to say something. True, we may not agree with how he said it or how it was presented, but it needed to be said.
Cool. I mean, as long as he can go and get his work ID and then walk him off campus, we cool with that.
I mean, he stated a couple other schools that wanted him before. I
Then
don't
he
think
can
Jackson
go.
State
He can go
Jackson
work
State
for
was
them.
kind
But
of interesting. Yeah,
he can
Jackson
go
State was
work for
kind of
them.
interesting.
He can't come. He
I was
can't
like,
work here. He can go work
yeah,
for them. He can't work here. Cause I'm never gonna work with somebody like that. I don't care how talented. Listen, I don't care how talented you are. I don't care how great you are. If you go about doing things like that and you make me look bad in the process, I'm not working with you.
but there was a window already there. There
You
was a
wouldn't even
curtain
work with
already
him.
there
You
to
don't.
hide
You won't
what was
even
going
work with him.
on.
You won't even work with him.
Now, in a perfect scenario, no.
No, 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 no,
But
no, no. You
he
add an
needed him to say
additional
that.
context with the perfect scenario narrative, but you wouldn't work with him. You would not want a person like that working with you.
Like I stated before, in a perfect scenario, no, because he's not media trained. No. Let's be honest. That's basically in a nutshell what it is. He wasn't media trained. He could have said, "Hey, what is going on here?" and showed this, that, and so forth. It would still be an issue because he was recording, but he was probably recording to whatchamacallit, to recruit, because he already had what 30 some odd kids coming to the campus to visit, 3 stars and 4 stars per Mr. Reed.
And
So he was
nobody
already
asked him to.
on the
Nobody
side
asked him to do
as
that.
the head.
And nobody asked him to do that because he didn't even have the job yet.
But in
You
principle,
listen, listen, listen.
they
You
took
can't
they
do.
had the
You
job.
can't do what you want to do when you want to do it. It's a reason why we have rules and why we do things a certain type of way. You can't just do what you want to do when you want to do it.
He wasn't doing what he wanted to do.
He
All
did.
coach, all coaches, some type of either a PWI or HBCU are following this mode. Some PWIs, like a Carolina, I stay like 15 minutes away from UNC. They invite kids over. They put you in front of the blue screen. They put you in front of the backdrop. You're wearing the number one. Either you're in football or basketball. For HBCUs, they're taking
Do they do
advantage of
that
the
with
internet.
staff that's not actually hired?
I'm sorry,
They do that with the staff that's not even actually hired.
Steph. I cannot answer, sir.
So what are we talking about then?
We're talking about the message. We're talking about the messenger. We're gonna call him the messenger because he ignited what is going on right now. How we're talking about BCU right now. Well, you're talking about his the professionalism. You're talking about the video and the lack of professionalism, and he wasn't even hired yet. Which you have because I see it differently. I see it as okay. Someone has to say something. If you see the injustice that's going on in the what's called, if you see freaking rats in the buildings, you got to say something about it. If you see homeless people going into the dorms and sitting in the lobby, you got to say something about it. If you see the campus compromise, i.e., the big hole in the fence
You got to
where
say
nobody
something about it to who? You got to say something
got to
about it to
say.
your. Do you first go through protocol to see if you can solve for it with the person that actually hired you, or do you first go straight on social media?
Don't forget, this was already known because the kids already talked about it.
It's a straight question.
Alumni have already been talking about
Do you first go through the protocol
it.
to address it with the person that actually hired you, or do you go straight to social media?
You go with protocol first.
Did he do that?
No, he didn't.
That's it. That's it. If he did not operate under protocol, if he wasn't even an employee, If he did everything
Hmm.
unprofessional and then in every subsequent interview he goes to throw insults, that is a problem. And that's why you specifically said that you would not work with him.
Now, go a step further. The kids, alumni, former alumni,
No, no,
have
no, no, no,
already
no, no,
been
no, no, no,
talking
no.
to the
You
board. No,
can't,
no,
you
no, no, no,
can't,
no,
you
no, no,
can't
no,
go a
no,
step
no, no.
further
Yes, you can.
because
You can go a
now,
step
no,
further
no, no.
because
Listen,
there's always been complained about, sir.
at this point, you going into something
There's
different
always
that
been complained
you
about it,
going
sir.
into something different that I may agree
No,
with you.
no, sir.
Wait, wait, wait,
No,
wait,
I'm
wait,
not.
wait, wait.
No, I'm not.
You going
No,
into
I'm not.
something different that I may agree with tomorrow. But today,
Okay,
I need
okay.
Ed Reed to get his book bag, get his gray beard, and get his bag and get his staff off my fucking campus because he is operating like a madman, and there's no
He
telling
is
what
not
he's gonna
operating
do,
like a
and there's no
man.
telling what he's gonna do once we put him on payroll. Get your shit, Ed Reed, and get the fuck off my campus because you need us, not the other way around. You came to us for a job. We never asked you for anything.
I don't think. Oh,
They
we'll talk. We'll.
he
Are you gonna
applied.
have a?
He applied for the job. He went
Hmm.
into the office and agreed in principle to be able to operate a certain type of way. Now I need him to get his shit and get the fuck off my campus.
Okay. So let's do this, sir. Are you having another live tomorrow?
I am.
Can we discuss? We'll discuss everything in totality then. We'll
Absolutely.
discuss everything in totality. Man, and I'm going to say this. I agree because I started watching your Lapeef, and I
Uh-huh.
enjoy you because some of your points are on point. Are on point. I think this is the first time that I was like, I don't disagree with him. I don't disagree with it. Most of the time, we're on one accord. We are on one accord. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
yo, yeah, he's talking. He's right, but not this one. Watch the videos. Watch the videos.
I'm gonna check.
We will talk.
I'm
I will
not gonna
talk about
watch him
that.
yet. I'm gonna watch him in real time tomorrow
Okay.
with everybody
Okay.
else, and I'm gonna react to him and give up my honest thoughts.
Okay. And so the point that I try to make at the end, I'll ask you. I'll make it tomorrow if I can get on live. Right now I'm working. If I can get on live again, I'll bring it up to you. I want to hear what you say then.
All
That
right,
same
cool.
point
I'm
when
with
you
it.
said, "Okay, man, I enjoy talking
I
to
appreciate you, Ronnie.
you."
Thank you,
You have
my
a good one,
friend.
sir.